He's a real fighter, a lawyer, tough and smart, working on a lot of different things. Boris, now most people call him Epstein, but I call him Boris Epshteyn because that's the way. Epstein, which is the way they say it in his original country, and he's been incredible and a fighter. Boris. Hi, Boris.
We don't blame you for not knowing who Boris Epshteyn is, given the massive rotating cast of characters hanging on the edge of Donald Trump's every word.
Steve Bannon is an American hero. Steve Bannon is, under the leadership of President Trump, a major leader in the MAGA movement.
This is what he said after Congress voted to hold Bannon in contempt for failing to cooperate with the January 6th Select Committee in the fall of 2021. But he's been a MAGA fan for a lot longer than that.
They are the main players in selecting the electors, and as they're supposed to be in each state per the Constitution. The Electors Clause says that it's the legislators of each state. In all of these states, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, very much, Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico, it is so vital for these legislators to sit back, not rush the process, and determine who won the most legal votes.
Kerry Lake won that election. Hear me loud and hear me clear. Kerry Lake won that election. I know Arizona like the back of my hand, and there's no way on God's green earth that Katie Hobbs was elected to be governor of that gorgeous Grand Canyon state. We've got to be fighting. We cannot be accepting the rigging and stealing of American elections. We've been talking about it for 2 years. Since 3 November 2020. What has been done? We need to fix this now.
When it comes to election deniers, Epstein is an OG. He was instrumental in spreading the fake electors plan, and he worked closely with Rudy Giuliani, using that scheme to try to overturn the presidential election in swing states. And even now that 45 faces 4 indictments at the federal and state level, New York, Georgia, the lies just keep coming. So many American voters still continue to willfully wear their blinders as the race for 2024 is expected to be even more devious. The radical wing of the Republican Party still won't denounce such treasonous behavior because they still believe it's the best path to winning. Now, if you're wondering why we highlighted this particular high-level Trumper, well, you should know that body cam footage from back in October 2021 that was just released to the public shows that Epstein likely tried to do his best Trump impression while out at a nightclub in Scottsdale, Arizona. Now, this woman, blurred for her privacy, and her 23-year-old sister accused Epstein of inappropriately touching and groping them without consent earlier in the evening, with the older sister accusing him of cornering her and making her feel super uncomfortable. That's the quote, by touching her chest, hips, crotch, after multiple requests for him to stop, then telling the officer that she's reporting him in hopes of preventing other women from being subjected to the same. Look, sexual violence against women doesn't belong to one party affiliation over another, but I can tell you this, with the recent mainstream revival of misogyny, anti-feminism, it's only going to perpetuate this behavior and then rationalize it for a whole new generation. After shockingly taking the complaint seriously and briefly questioning Epstein, who invoked his right to remain silent, the officers arrested him on charges of assault, touching, attempted sexual abuse, harassment, repeated acts, and disorderly conduct, disruptive behavior, or fighting. He eventually pled guilty to just the disorderly conduct charge and served a year of probation, paid fines, and was ordered not to contact either woman again following the other charges being dropped. And while those allegations must be legally treated as just allegations since the charges didn't stick, that does not detract from the credibility of the accusers and what they allegedly had to experience. He's like a stereotypical used car salesman. And now I have to apologize to used car salesmen. Will Epstein or his leader actually face consequences for trying to overturn the election? I used to say absolutely not, but now not so sure. But I don't think it's going to depend on any judge or jury. It's going to depend on who's energized or maybe rabid, who heads to the polls to prevent another reign of Donald Trump and his accused racketeering gang. If we do escape that, and there will not be another Trump presidency, I predict the morning after such election results, expect the violence to begin.